Hey Internet, you're probably wondering what's right in front of you on your screen. Well, they're called capacitors. And they come in a variety of sizes, everything from your little guys down here, to your medium size, to your giant, super huge, large capacitors up here. But what is a capacitor? Well, simply put, a capacitor is something that can hold electrical charge. And you're probably wondering, okay, so what makes it different than a battery? Well, what you gotta understand is batteries generate either electrical current through chemicals. Capacitors kind of store it. If you kind of think of it in an analogy, it's kind of like a cup in the faucet. The faucet is like a battery, where you turn it on and water comes out. A capacitor is more like a cup, where you fill it up, and then you slowly dissipate the liquid, or in this case, electricity. Now, you're also probably wondering what makes these capacitors different from one another, and why are some really small and some are bigger. And also, kind of as a reference point, I have a lead pencil here, so you can kind of tell. Well, the one thing is how much voltage they can hold. So, the bigger capacitors, and if we can get this into focus, this is going to be the harder part. Let's start with this, because this is kind of easy to see if we turn this sideways. You can see this can hold up to 75 volts DC. Looking more at this one, if I can get the shine out there. There we go. You can see it holds 25 volts DC. So that can hold up to 3 times as much voltage. And I believe this little guy here can only hold up to 10. And this one can only hold up to 10. Now, the other thing is a thing called microfarads. And you're probably wondering, okay, what's a microfarad? Well, it's a measurement of how much charge the capacitor can hold. Kind of going back to our cup analogy, microfarad is kind of like the equivalent of fluid ounces. Or how much the cup can hold, how much liquid it can hold. So our little guy here holds a fraction of a microfarad, probably something really, really small. Yeah, this guy here's like 0.0015, kind of going to our bigger guys here. This is 6800. And this one here is 1000. So you can see as they get bigger, the microfarads go up. So kind of like the whole cup analogy, the bigger the cup, the more it can hold. It's the same with capacitors. And that's generally what microfarads are. Now to kind of demonstrate this, we have this magical thing known as a light bulb. And this will be our load. We also have a power source set right here. So if we start off with our big capacitor, this holds 22,000 microfarads at 75 volts DC. So this can hold a hell of a lot of power and a hell of a lot of charge. So we're going to chart. Now, like I said, you need to charge it. So you need to fill the cup. So the power supply here is kind of like a battery, or kind of going back to the analogy like the faucet. And we're going to connect this, which is going to fill the cup. And you have to give it a few seconds. So there we go. We've technically filled the cup, or we've charged the capacitor. I'm going to disconnect our wires here. So the cup, even though we don't see a difference, the cup is technically full, or the capacitor has charge in it. So if we take the wires from our light bulb, and connect. And then we take our other wire here, and we're going to move the light bulb so I can try and get this in one shot. As soon as it's kind of running away here, but if we take our wire, and if I can get this all in one nice shot, as soon as I connect it, you can see it lights up, but it starts to dissipate until it goes down to nothing. Now, this is because the capacitor is discharging, or in a non-technical sense, we are quote-unquote emptying the cup. Now, like I said earlier, this is a really big cup, or in this sense, a big capacitor. If we were to take one of the smaller ones and hook it up to our power supply, give that a second or two to charge, and we were to do the same thing with the light, I'm going to take our light here. You can see that dissipates really, really, really quickly because this capacitor here is much smaller than this, so it can hold less charge, so it'll empty out quicker. Kind of makes sense. Again, back to that cup analogy. Smaller cup empties out faster. Now you're probably saying, well, why do we make different size capacitors? Why aren't capacitors all one size? And what you got to remember is it's not only that, but it's the application. So one of these big capacitors would be great in maybe something like a power supply, or something to help drive bass speakers in those cars that drive down the highway and you can hear their bass like 3 miles away and it's super annoying. But still, you would see this and more something like that. Your more immediate, or maybe even something like this in smaller applications. And these can hold a lot of power, but you don't need something that can hold a lot of power when you're dealing maybe with radios and tuned circuits and stuff. You need something that can discharge and charge very, very fast, because this takes longer to charge and discharge than this, and this takes longer than this. So if you need something to charge and discharge really fast, maybe in fractions of a second, because you're dealing with waves where where the wave fluctuates, in multiple times in 1 second, you're going to need something that can keep up with that wave. So something like these little guys here that can charge and discharge in a matter of seconds. So there you go, YouTube. That's kind of generally what a capacitor is, and that's also some of the different types of capacitors, and I guess you could even say some of the general applications of capacitors. Thanks for watching, YouTube. If you want more videos about electronics and computer and other cool technical stuff, give this video a like, give this video a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe down there, and also leave comments down in the comment section down there. So, thanks for watching, Internet. Bye.